2, 1.
Hey folks, we're back and it's time for Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley. I want to thank Georgia Cancer Research Center, affiliated with Northside Hospital, for this segment. And we're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, Georgia. I know it's raining a little bit, but I want to say happy Good Friday, and to our Jewish friends, Passover starts tonight at sundown. So
Yeah.
how are you doing, Dr. Whaley?
I'm doing great. I heard you. Now we're late starting, folks, so hang with us. We got a lot to do.
I had to get the whole point out.
Well, plus you had the equipment failure there. All right, you were talking about Mueller. I'm going to stay away from Mueller, but there's evidence that the troubles are resurfacing. What's that mean, Josh? The troubles. All right, link that to what's going on in Britain.
Brexit, yes. Okay.
Rioting last night in Londonderry. A journalist was killed, and it is the new IRA and the idea of Brexit, and then they're becoming a border, and all of that is, the IRA, and this goes back 100 years. I mean, that's big stuff. And here, all the daggum Democrats are talking about. Trump got mad and sat there and said, "Oh my God, this is terrible. I'm not going to get anything done. That's exactly what I would have done if somebody had come in there. I've got an arrest warrant out for me in Atlanta, and I'm going to court. I'm going to court at 7:15 Monday morning with a big time lawyer, because a piece of property my daddy had 50 years ago. I'm William H. Whaley. He was too. Is in a bad part of town. Somebody dumped some tires on it. So I got the citation for dumping power. They want to arrest me. So I got to go to court and pay a fine just because my name is the same as my daddy. So I would sit back and say, I'm really mad.
Hey,
they're getting all over me.
The only question I have is, will you be in and out of court and done with this arrest situation by next Friday?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Just
but if I got caught for speeding or something, they could drag me off to the jail. I mean, I got to get this out of the way.
I got it.
It was like my buddy in Chicago spent 8 months in jail on a bench warrant.
I agree 100% with you, and I'm not just saying that because there's times when things happen, and this is what's in the report, so I'm not going to say it, but there's times when things happen and you might say, man, I'm effed.
Yeah.
And the minute they appointed a special counsel, and you're a new president, you're new.
Yeah, but
and you're
2
thinking,
weeks or whatever it is.
Right, man, I'm effed. They're out to get me.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, when I tell you, so, man, I'm angry as the devil, so we need to go down there and kick that sheriff of Fulton County. I don't even kick you. I mean, I'm just mouthing off.
I got it.
He was mouthing off. Anyway, let's get to work.
Let me ask you this, though. Yeah. We're going to go right there, but let me ask this: isn't it? It's humorous to watch all these bright minds they assemble around these talking head tables on these networks.
What kind of minds?
The bright minds.
What kind of minds? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, our first question today. I'm in remission after having chemotherapy and radiation for small cell lung cancer. I've recently started having a shortness of breath when I'm at rest. Doesn't seem to happen at work. Could this be a sign? It has come back? Is there anything I can do?
Put up that first thing for me. I'm real troubled by this question because, one, it doesn't tell you how long ago they were treated, whether it's 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and this is a result of the radiation therapy. But I can tell you, I'm going to tell you about small cell lung cancer. We're going to set this question aside for a minute. Josh, you'll remember this. I've talked frequently about early detection of breast cancer and early detection of colorectal cancer, and I've used this analogy. So people, I want you to imagine you see a pond that is glassy smooth. Most cancer begins as if you drop a single pebble in that pond and the ripples slowly ripple out from the center. So that if you frequently get mammography, you should catch a breast cancer when it's no bigger than the tip of that ballpoint pen. And if you don't frequently get mammography, those ripples will have to ripple out to where that thing gets as big as a grape or something before you're going to feel it. Now, most non-small cell lung cancer begins as if that is the pebble. The only one that does not is this cancer here, small cell lung cancer. It begins as if you have a handful of gravel and you throw it in the air and it lands all over the pond at one time. You got that concept?
Mm-hmm.
Go to that next picture.
Yeah, I mean, I'm following that. That makes a lot of sense.
All right, so small cell lung cancer is never operated on. My God, kidding me? You don't operate on it? No, because it is always spread. Now you look at that picture there, that small cell lung cancer, I'll show it to you. But this begins right off by saying that you've got lymphatic spread, and you can see that this entire lung over here is involved with what you can see. But in small cell lung cancer, the seeds of this, at least 50% of the time, heads you win, tails you lose, are in the brain when you have diagnosis, even when the only thing you see is in the lung. So no small cell lung cancer is generally treated by surgery. The exception to that would be you broke your rib, you got a chest x-ray for a broken rib, and the small cell lung cancer was so small that they went in and removed it. Didn't biopsy it because they thought it was other kind, and it turned out to be small cell lung cancer. And that would be called localized small cell lung cancer. And this is going to be very, very discouraging to people in general. I'm sure that the person who wrote this article, this question, knows the answer to this. But get up to one that's the graph, Josh. These people can't watch all the numbers, KP, but this black line right there is the survival from 100% of patients with small cell lung cancer. Now, this is my 47th year in practice. During the first 25 of those years, a diagnosis of small cell lung cancer mean that you died in 6 weeks to 6 months. And nobody, zero, survived 1 year. Even if it was the small localized form. So what you're seeing here is more modern survivals, where out here, that's 2 years, 10% survive 2 years. Now we got that number up to probably 30%. But that is because of new types of chemotherapy that are aggressive. Yes, you lose your hair, and yes, you come to the doctor's office every week. But instead of being dead in 6 weeks to 6 months, we get 50 or more percent of people to a year. We get 30 or so percent to 2 years, and then this curve flattens out like that, and we have long-term survivals of 20, 25, or 30%. Now, that last one is not going to be able to be seen, but if you take this survival rate curve, it's a little bit easier to see than that one. 75% of people with small cell lung cancer were alive at a year, 32% at 1 year, 22% at a year and a half, and 14% at 2 years. So when they used to say you survive 6 weeks to 6 months, now you could say the average is going to survive a little bit less than a year, and some people are going to last 2 years. Well, we have gotten much better than that now. So I'm going to go back to this question. First of all, no patient with small cell lung cancer, even if they are out 2 years after diagnosis, have been treated with chemotherapy and radiation to the lung. Now, they didn't mention the brain, but if you get this disease in good care, in good control, then before you have a problem, I said 50% of the time it's in your brain. What's in the brain so small you can't see it. So once we've treated you for 3 months, 4 months, and this cancer in the lung has gone away and it's gone down, we send you up to Blairsville or down to Canton for 2 weeks of radiation therapy to sterilize the brain. Now, there was nothing said about that here. So small cell lung cancer is not near as dismal as it used to be. You can remember this analogy I've used before, Josh, and that is that when we were kids, you've got acute leukemia, you died. And you died in 6 weeks to about a year. Now 80% of the kids go down to Emory, they take the IVs, they run around, their hair falls out, and 80 or 90% of them are in remission and cured. And that most aggressive cancer that we had in kids, leukemia, now is very highly cured. And with this small cell lung cancer, it's the same concept. It was so aggressive and so fast that modern treatment dramatically has improved the survival. So I would say this patient right here should be in the hands of an oncologist that they are seeing every 3 months for 5 years. After that 5 years, if they're in that tail of 20 or 25%, they'll be seen for life every 6 months. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is, yes, it's probably coming back, and 2, call up the oncologist and go see him, and no, there's nothing you can do. Is that pretty dismal? Pretty good?
No, I mean,
it's encouraging.
No, I mean, the question has been asked.
Yeah.
So, you know, our viewers ask these questions, and they want to know, and we appreciate, we got to give them the answer.
Yeah. It's a tough discussion.
Yes, it is, but you know.
I had this discussion with a new small cell lung cancer patient Wednesday.
Yes, that is a tough discussion, but the question has been asked, and folks, if you have a question for the doc, you could always send that to us at info, I-N-F-O, at fetchernews.com and put in the subject line, Ask the Doc. Now, again, Georgia Cancer Research Center, affiliated with Northside Hospital. We thank you for this segment. And our second question, we visited this not long ago, but you know, it's worthy of talking about again. And we're going to talk about on our next question here, when I am in a seated position for a length of time, my legs get a tingling and burning sensation. This has grown increasingly uncomfortable and more frequent in the last month. What could be the cause of this, and is there anything I can do to prevent this?
Once again, how old is the patient?
Well, can I say something?
Yeah.
I get up and move.
Yeah.
No, it's not my job to answer the question.
You're doing it, though. You're doing it.
But you know what I'm saying?
How old is that patient?
I don't know.
What sex?
I don't know.
They got a back problem?
I don't know.
They have heart disease or peripheral vascular disease?
I don't know.
I don't either. So the question is a little bit weak. We had this similar question about the arms a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And then the legs a few weeks before that. So I think this is an outgrowth of that. And I want to go at this backwards this time. I'm going to go at it from the complicated down to the easy. So show that first chart there. And this shocked you last time, BKP. But if you look down the left-hand side where it says symptoms, back pain radiating down the lateral leg. They didn't tell us what part of the leg. The next one is radiating down the posterior leg, but not going greater than the feet, radiating around the anterior leg and in the buttock. You know. So the point is, we don't have enough information here. And then the signs, the symptoms, and the causes, and we go way out there. So show that next one that's really kind of complicated. So this is a side view of the spine, all these different nerves that run down your legs. All right, now we've got enough of that one. Now we're going to get to this one, stick with it a while. So now when you look at this one, you'll remember it. Are they talking about that distribution of pain, this distribution of pain and numbness, that distribution of pain and numbness? So there's a whole lot more you got to know about, right? Now show the next one, because this is BKP, he just told us. Now BKP, this is the most common cause of the symptom. Sitting in the car or sitting there with your legs crossed, you got your legs crossed picture, and you know what you do? What do you do, BKP, when your legs go numb when you're sitting down? Or you're sitting like that? You get up and move, what you just said.
Well, I want to know where you found a picture with these shoes. Yeah. No, I agree with you, because I was thinking, one, when you cross your legs, that's one thing, but because of what Josh and myself and like what I do, I make sure I get up and walk around.
Right, and you sometimes can't do that for 2 hours.
Exactly.
Now, if there's a commercial break,
exactly,
you can get up and stretch. Now, this next one is for you. You didn't ask this question.
Okay.
All right. Show the last one. One of the people here in the room, won't say who, so we don't violate a confidence, had a bad calf cramp last night.
Yeah, I wonder who it is.
I don't know. Somebody out there did. So this answer is the answer to the calf cramp And it's the answer to the numbness if it doesn't go away quickly when you get up and move. And this is also for my wife, what does it say? Where's my wife over there? Okay, what's the treatment there? Read it, what's it say?
A leg massage will help.
My goodness, Dr. Whaley is prescribing a massage. This is just a leg massage, not the whole body now. But a leg massage will improve blood circulation, blood flow, and relieve tingling and numbness. So we started with the complicated, that big old chart and all those nerves, and we ended up with get up and walk and rub your legs. How about that? Does that answer the question?
Sure does. Absolutely, it sure does. I get up and walk around. And, and I'm going to say this because I think we all do. We all have those from time to time. We just want a lazy Saturday or something like that, and you got to get up and walk around. I get it. Now, again, thank you, Georgia Cancer Research Center, affiliated with Northside Hospital. At this time every week, Dr. Whaley brings us things that are new in the medical field out there. And I'm going to tell you something right here at Circuit World and Blue Ridge, Georgia. There's so many things that you hear first here. And then the big guys try it later, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
But they hear it here first. What do we have this morning?
I've been on a soapbox the whole time we've been doing this show, which is 3 or 4 years, about unfettered access to the internet, Facebook, Snap, or whatever it is. I know nothing about it, for non-adults, and that's kids. They take the thing away when they go to bed, so they don't stay up all night Facebooking one another and whatever it is, tweeting or twitting or whatever they do. And then there was a discussion we had here just a few weeks ago about the HPV. Should you be giving a shot to people? But if you read this right here, what's the headline say? Girls' online sex experience may spur risk offline. And this is in children, girls, between the ages of 8 and 14. And the amount of Facebook or chats that they do that have sexual connotations or content with their peers. Now, this isn't sexting and that sort of stuff. Kind of numbs them to the experimentation with sex offline. That's just like the games they play with the killing of people in the new movies. So I thought that was worth throwing out, because what I've been saying about the internet was that they're not sleeping well, and they're not doing their homework and everything. But mamas don't want their daughters experimenting with sex, and if they can help that by taking the daggone thing away from them, that's what they ought to do. But let's get to the medical news. Recalls, food recalls. Now this is for all of our corpulent people. Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
Yeah.
You heard about that, right?
Yes.
They had to recall Ben and Jerry's. Now why'd they have to recall it?
I don't remember.
You talk about
I just heard it in passing.
You talk about the deep state. I mean,
Right.
Talk about plots. It had unlisted portions of tree nuts in their butter pecan or their pistachio ice cream that might cause somebody to become allergic. Might. Have anybody get an allergic reaction to Ben and Jerry's ice cream? None. Now, when you go on an airplane and they say, we're not serving peanuts today because we got a passenger with a peanut allergy, and they take the peanuts off the airplane, and the allergic person announces to the airline, they'll take the peanuts off. Well, some peanut allergy person or something else filed a thing against Ben and Jerry's, and they had to go out, bring back, I don't know how many tons of ice cream, but that's a big state messing with somebody's ice cream. I didn't particularly like that one. And then yesterday they reported that people who buy sliced melon and buy fruits cut up to eat at home, right now the sliced melon...
I'll tell you what, you're going to be more in trouble. You don't have to wait till Monday to get to Atlanta.
The sliced melon and the sliced melon and the sliced fruits being distributed to Walmart, Kroger, and many vendors in our geography. Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama are contaminated with salmonella. And you're safer buying the melon and cutting it up yourself than buying the chopped up melon. I didn't say a thing about pineapple, so people who buy the chopped up pineapple are probably safe. And then the last one is that tuna that you buy in the market in all of the South right now is contaminated with salmonella. And if you do your tuna like I like mine, which is really just seared, sort of semi-raw in the middle, you better not buy tuna in any place except on the coast, like we did in Hawaii, where you see it come in and the guy cuts it right in front of you off of a big old chunk. And if it's prepackaged and you're buying it in a grocery store right now, stay away from tuna. So that's all you
Yeah, because if you just like it, like you said, seared on both sides, then you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, you do. Yep.
And
that's, it's good that way.
And you know what? I say it like this. I like to open my own melons at home. I get the cantaloupes, I get watermelons, and I go home and cut up. I don't, nothing against the grocery stores. Great people. They don't intend to put a product out that has salmon, but it happens.
Yeah.
So nothing against them.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
That's been pre-cut and shipped to the store. I note that at the local store, which is 150 yards from where we're sitting, they actually cut the melon at the store,
right,
and package it. That is not.
You're talking about the pre-packaging.
Prepackaged shit.
Right.
I need to be real careful about that. I did not mean to align.
No, I didn't think. I didn't think you intended for it to sound like that.
I need to be real careful.
No. I felt.
Jane
I felt
says
very.
Don't believe it, so I got to be real careful.
I felt very clear that you were discussing prepackaged.
Prepackaged, yeah.
Well, what else you got? Anything else?
Well, I go back to the Troubles. I would rather talk about the Troubles and Brexit than talk about Mueller, but I know y'all are going to talk about Mueller. And there was an interesting thing I tried to get my wife to look at, and she said, I already know what they say, but there was a big, long, and not from the New York Times, done by another regional paper that said what the Republicans say on this side, what the Democrats say on that side, and it was equal number of pictures listening to congressmen speaking about the same view. And it's like that thing about the man who's describing who the blind people who are feeling an elephant and describing it. The ones that are on the side, they've got a wall, and the ones that are at the tail have a hose, and the ones that are at the trunk have a tree. And so they all are looking at the same thing and looking at it from different directions, but they're feeling it and they're blind. And if you read those two things, it talks about two different groups of people looking at the same thing and looking at opposite directions. And there's no fix for it.
Thank you very much. You have a good weekend. You got big plans.
You didn't like that part about no fix for it.
No.
Well, the big plans are I do my medical thing at the church on Sunday, and then we're going to rush down to Atlanta and have a late brunch with our grandkids, and we've been on a Lent thing for a while that Jane can have meat on Easter evening for the first time in 2 months.
All right.
I can have alcohol and a cigar.
I'm your host, BKP. This is Ask the Doc. Now, if you have a question for Dr. William Whaley, you send that to info, I-N-F-O, at fetchernews.com. You put in the subject line, Ask the Doc. And again, we want to thank Georgia Cancer Research Center, affiliated with Northside Hospital, for this segment. We're going to take a brief break, and we're going to come back, and it'll be time for the All-Star panel with Rick, Jane, and Bruce. They'll be in here, and we have some serious subjects we're going to talk about today. Now, I'm not going to say we're not going to have our usual fun, but sometimes we have a lot of fun and cut up. But I got a couple serious subjects I want this group to get into this morning, and we're going to do it right after this break.